Hello everybody, in today's video we're going to be going over a potential big winter storm for portions of the Northeast, and this is not just going to be for the northern New England regions and portions of the interior Northeast, which is what we've really seen a lot so far this fall and winter season. This is actually going to be snow that could potentially get down to the coast, and we're going to talk about where that is possible. We're not going to be giving you my snowfall forecast just yet because there is still so much uncertainty with a storm that's happening in just 48 hours from now. So tomorrow I'll probably have in tomorrow's video, the storm really wouldn't have occurred too much. It'll just be some rain showers over much of the Northeast by that point. So the real snow wouldn't have happened by that point. So I'm planning on putting out my snowfall forecast by then. We'll have a much better idea of what's going to happen by then because we'll know where the trough is going to set up. We're going to know where that system is by that point. If it's a little bit later than what was expected, if it's a little bit sooner than what was expected, that's all stuff that we have to figure out. And it's definitely going to be an interesting 24 hours for me where I'm going to be tracking the system very, very closely. Monitor my community post tab because I most likely will post a couple times about this storm if there are any major changes. In today's video, we're going to be looking at the European model, the GFS model, and then the NAM model and see what all three of those models are showing. And then we'll go and give you my boomer bust forecast. In today's video, we're picking Worcester, Massachusetts because some models are indicating up to 1.5 feet, while other models are indicating maybe 1 or 2 inches. So that's going to be our city for the boomer bust forecast for today, and you can find that at the end of the video. I think a lot of you guys are liking it, and if you don't like it or if you do like it, tell me down in the comments, and I'll definitely be working on improving that forecast. So here is the current National Weather Service page. As you can see, for much of the areas east of the Rockies, not a lot going on, but we do have quite a bit of warnings as you get further to the west. Now, we do have some air quality alerts in portions of the Northwest. We have some wind advisories in effect for portions of southeastern Arizona as well as for southwestern California. We have some high wind warnings and watches. We also see some freeze warnings in effect for portions of Arizona, and we see I believe that's a hard freeze warning in effect for I believe one county in California there. And then we have some red flag warnings in effect for portions of southwestern California as well. Other than that, there's not a lot going on for the eastern 3/4 of the United States. Now, here is what the European model is showing. So this would be by tomorrow morning, right around 7 in the morning, and that's only about 12 hours from when I'm recording this, and actually a little bit less than 12 hours from when I'm recording this. So, or actually it would be slightly more than 12 hours from when I'm recording this. So this is really not too far away, but the models are having such a difficult time trying to figure out when is this trough going to dig down, which is right here. That's kind of, you can kind of see it's represented by that precipitation shield, and when is this system from the south and the southeast going to come in? Because these two systems are going to merge, and usually the models have a difficult enough time with just one system. When you add two systems together, that's going to make it very, very tough for the models to really handle. So we have this very cold upper feature that's in portions of Canada and into portions of the Northeast by this point, and that's digging down. This would be by about 7 a.m. Eastern time, and then we have this little finger of moisture that's trying to push up into the mid-Atlantic and the Northeast. So maybe you have some rain/snow showers that are moving through parts of the Northeast, especially for areas that are west of New England. That's where most of your rain and snow showers should be as we get to Friday early in the morning. Those rain and snow showers really move a little bit further to the south. They really don't stay. They don't really impact too much. It's just going to be some rain, maybe some mixing in there for some areas a little bit further to the north. But then the system starts to push a little bit further to the north. Here would be by right around this. I believe this would be right around 2 p.m. Eastern time or so. And we're dealing with this system still pushing up further to the north. And as we continue forward, and as we're getting to closer to 4 p.m. Here's by about 7 p.m. or so, and we're dealing with that rain pushing a little bit further to the north over the Catskills and the Poconos. Maybe you're dealing with a little bit of snow activity there, but notice that the trough still hasn't moved into portions of the coastal Northeast, at least. So your trough is still back here, and your cold air really hasn't reached to that precipitation shield. So it's going to stay mainly rain, and that cold air is still locked up as you get further to the north into upstate New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine. So really, that rain is going to be separated from the cold air according to the European model. They do start to merge as we get to Saturday early in the morning. For example, here would be by 1 a.m., and you're starting to see them phasing. Your trough is now digging a little bit further to the west, and your trough is now kind of like this, according to what the European model is showing. So your precipitation is moving that trough further to the west. So because that warm air is pushing up like this, that cold air has to go somewhere. So it's going to end up going on the back side of that system, kind of like right here. So what we're seeing by this point is some rain, snow showers, especially for those higher elevations. Rain showers as you get closer to the coast, and for much of that system, still it's rain. But as we start to get to probably this would be right around 4 a.m. Eastern time. Here's by 7 a.m., and this is where I think the big impacts will start. This is by, again, 7 a.m. or so. As you're waking up, you're dealing with some mixing, especially as you get into those valley areas and as you get to some of the higher elevations in New Jersey, upstate New York, Connecticut, eastern Massachusetts, eastern New Hampshire. That's where you're looking at that mixing. And then as you go further to the north and to the west, still in those higher elevations, that's where you're looking at probably some heavy snowfall if this were to be correct, and that rain is also going to be quite steady along the coast. Now, this would be by 10 a.m. Here's by 1 p.m., and that storm is still moving up the coast. It's in the Gulf of Maine by this point, and as we continue forward, in parts of upstate Maine, as you get into portions of New Hampshire, Vermont, into Massachusetts, and upstate New York, especially those higher elevations, getting the highest snow totals there. And just moving this forward, you can see how that snow just lingers over northern New England. This would be by Sunday morning by this point, so it's been snowing pretty much all of Saturday into Sunday morning by this point, and then you're still dealing with lingering snow showers as we get all the way through on Sunday. Now, here's what the European model is showing for this storm, and look at that. We're dealing with some areas getting potentially closer to 18 inches of snowfall in this region, and that is definitely going to be very impactful if this were to be the case. Now, the GFS and the Canadian model, which we'll show you in a little bit, are a little, they really don't want to show as much snowfall, and they're a little warmer than what the European model is showing. Now, here's what the NAM 3CAM model is showing, and then as the NAM 3CAM model kind of doesn't go out, the NAM 3CAM model doesn't go out as far, so eventually we'll switch over to the NAM 12CAM, but we're dealing with generally the same thing, but what we're seeing is that trough is a little bit more east oriented, and it's a little bit flatter. So what we're seeing is that instead of your trough, I'll do the trough on the European model generally as an estimation, was kind of more like this. It was kind of more of a bowl shape. It kind of dipped down a lot more, which means that where the main precipitation was falling, which would be kind of right within this region, you weren't seeing any snowfall. Now, what that means with the NAM 3CAM model is that this cold air will kind of evenly spread out over the northeast, and that means that some of that snowfall or some of that rainfall will switch over to snowfall, especially on that northern and western side of the precipitation. So as we move through the day on Friday, here would be or this would be tomorrow, and we're dealing with by tomorrow afternoon some rain and snow showers for the Adirondacks into the Green and White Mountains of Vermont and New Hampshire there. We're looking at some snow and some rain as well as you get further to the south, and then that front kind of just lingers over the coastal northeast, which allows that cold air to seep in. So what we're seeing is that precipitation from the front has moved out, but what that means is that the cold air is in place, and your cold air is now like this. So that cold air is going to dip further to the south and to the east, and eventually it's going to meet up with that precipitation shield, and you're starting to see on the very northern end maybe some blue popping up, but the real snow is going to probably happen, according to this model, right around 5 a.m. Here's by 8 a.m. we see anywhere in those dark blues, this is around 3-inch per hour snowfall totals if you're in that darkest blue. In the medium blues, probably 1 to 2 inches per hour. In the light blues, which we don't see too many light blues on this map, probably under 1 inch per hour, but we're dealing with generally closer to 2 or 3 inches per hour snowfall rates in some of these areas highlighted in blue over New Jersey, upstate New York, into Connecticut, Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine. And as you just play this through, I skipped through about 3 hours, but through that 3 hours, that snow did shift a little bit further to the east, and we're dealing with now most of that snow has moved out of the areas further to the south over these regions, and it's now more oriented, kind of like what the European was showing over portions of interior New England. So As we move forward, look at that big patch of 3-inch plus per hour areas, and that's over portions of eastern Massachusetts, eastern New Hampshire, eastern Connecticut. There, looking at those very heavy snowfall totals, if that were to be correct from what the NAM 3KM model is showing. And now we'll switch over to the NAM 12KM model, a little bit lower resolution, but still generally giving the same idea that low moves off the Gulf of Maine and it's continuing to wrap around, bring in some more rain and snow showers all the way through on Sunday and even into Monday. So here's what the NAM 3KM model shows. Only going through Saturday evening, so it's not going through the entire event. So portions of New Hampshire and Maine haven't finished up this event, but generally areas further south of there, you get the idea. We're looking at, if this were to be the case, maybe a widespread 2+ inch snowfall accumulation for portions of eastern New England and portions of the coastal Northeast, and maybe even according to the NAM 12KM model, some 20-inch plus areas in Massachusetts, Connecticut, New Hampshire, and Maine. Now, I don't think that's very likely. The NAM is usually a little bit colder biased, but let's see what the GFS shows for this event. Now, take the NAM with a grain of salt. Again, this is probably not the most reliable model, but if we do see more trends like this, then definitely we have to pay attention to that, because it could definitely be the start of a trend. And I think it's more likely that areas further to the south don't see snow. I think that snow will be confined to interior New England as of right now. My official forecast will be coming out tomorrow afternoon. So here's by Friday night on the GFS model, and we're dealing with that front situated in portions of interior New England and parts of the interior Northeast. So it still hasn't moved all the way further to the south. We see that big area of precipitation further to the south, and moving this forward, you see that big wrapped up low move through Virginia and up into the Delmarva and then off the coast of New Jersey and Long Island there. And then what you're seeing is over portions of Massachusetts, Connecticut, upstate New York, New Hampshire, Vermont. You're looking at some of that snow, and then it switches to mainly snow for parts of, again, interior New England. You get a little bit away from the coast, and you start to see some of that snowfall. And you see that very, very strong low pressure system, maybe some blowing snow along with that, with those tight isobars and that strong wind, and you start to see some of that snowfall maybe get its way to the coast on that backside with some much cooler air. Some of this air will be very, very cold. On the backside of there, you're dealing with very, very cold air that's being pressed in off the backside of this low pressure system. So definitely it could be a very chilly Sunday. I think after the storm moves out, it'll be definitely very cold. So if you do get any snow out of this, most of it, if it doesn't get washed away, if you're on that northern end of this, might actually stick around for a couple of days. So moving forward, you start to see by Sunday, and then getting into Sunday night and into Monday morning, it's moving out of here, and most of that snow is going to fall in interior New England if this were to be the case from the GFS model. And again, this isn't as much snowfall, but still you do see that snow getting fairly far to the south, and again, interior areas might have a decent job of actually getting 6+ inches of snowfall out of this storm. Now here's my boomer bust forecast for today's video. We picked Worcester, Massachusetts, and that's because the NAM model was showing 18 to 20 inches for that region, while if you look at the GFS model, it's showing 1 to 2 inches of snowfall. So my forecast is a bit too early. I'm not putting that out just yet because there is still so much that can change within the next 24 hours, and with how bad the models have been, I really don't want to make too early of a prediction right now. So tomorrow's video, I'll have that prediction out. But again, look at that high-end snowfall, 18 to 20 inches, low-end snowfall, 1 to 2 inches of snowfall there. So definitely works out for the boomer bust forecast, because that is a definitely very, very big spread, and that's probably going to be your biggest area to watch. Except for the coast, whether or not they see snow, it's definitely going to be areas that are just inland. For example, Worcester, or areas into northern Connecticut, northern New Hampshire, or northern Rhode Island. How much snowfall do they get? Because that'll definitely be something that's going to fluctuate quite a bit. So that is going to wrap it up for today's video. Please tell me if you have any comments or questions. I will be answering all of your questions down below. I answer all of your comments anyway, and also if you have any suggestions for the boomer bust forecast, if you want me to improve anything, if you don't like it, tell me down below. If you like it, tell me down below, and I'm definitely taking all of your feedback. So again, that is going to wrap it up for today's video. Please consider liking the video, subscribing, and turning on notifications, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.